You already know Cleopatra, the most famous woman of the ancient world, a great beauty, a seductress who used her body to trap the two most powerful men in Rome, a queen who died from the bite of a snake. It is one of history's greatest stories, and almost every part of it is a lie. The real Cleopatra was not a seductress. She was one of the sharpest political minds of the ancient world, a ruler who spoke 9 languages, and who fought for 20 years to keep her kingdom free from Rome. So how did the truth get buried so deeply? The answer is simple, and it is the whole point of this story. She lost, and the man who defeated her was left to write the story of who she had been. This is the real Cleopatra and how the winner erased her. Start with the biggest myth of all. Cleopatra was not even Egyptian. Her family was Greek, descended from a general of Alexander the Great, who seized Egypt almost 300 years before she was born, and founded a line of Greek kings who ruled it ever after. And she did not rule from among the pyramids. Those were already ancient ruins in her time, built more than 2,000 years before she was even born. She ruled from Alexandria, a dazzling Greek city on the sea, home to the greatest library in the world, and a towering lighthouse that was one of the wonders of the age. And she was brilliant, not a great beauty by most honest ancient accounts. Her own coins show a strong, sharp face, not a soft one. What truly made her dangerous was her mind. She was schooled in philosophy, mathematics, and strategy. She spoke 9 languages, and she was the first ruler of her entire Greek dynasty to bother learning Egyptian, the tongue of the people she ruled. That was not sentiment. That was politics. She understood exactly how power worked. And she would need to, because Cleopatra inherited the richest kingdom in the Mediterranean, and the very last one still standing free from the shadow of a rising, hungry Rome. Keeping Egypt independent would take everything she had. Her troubles began at home. By the custom of her family, she was forced to share the throne and even to marry her own younger brother, a boy of just 10 years old, and his advisors wanted her gone. They moved against her. Cleopatra was driven out of her own capital, forced to run for her life. But she did not accept exile. She raised an army of her own and prepared to take her throne back by force. And then Rome itself came to Egypt in the form of the most powerful man alive, Julius Caesar. He had arrived chasing a rival and found a kingdom tearing itself apart in civil war. Cleopatra saw her opening. She needed Rome's power to win her throne, and Caesar needed Egypt's wealth to fund his own wars. So she made an alliance with him. Not a helpless girl seducing a general, a ruler striking a deal with the one man who could save her crown. And it worked. With Caesar's backing, Cleopatra crushed her rivals and secured Egypt. She had a son by him. For a moment, she had done the impossible. She had made Rome her partner and not her master. But then, far away in Rome, Caesar was murdered. And in a single stroke, Cleopatra's protector, her entire strategy was gone. She was alone again with a young son, and a kingdom that every ambitious Roman now eyed with hunger. So she did what a true strategist does. She found the next source of power. When Rome split into rival camps, she allied herself with the man who now controlled its eastern half, the general Mark Antony. Together, they became the most powerful pair in the world. Antony brought Roman armies. Cleopatra brought Egypt's endless wealth. She rebuilt her kingdom's strength and stretched its borders until she controlled much of the eastern Mediterranean. For a few short years, it looked as though she had won. A Greek queen of Egypt, standing as an equal beside Rome's greatest soldier, her children granted kingdoms of their own. Egypt was free, rich, and strong. It would not last. Because there was another man in Rome who wanted all of it. Caesar's young heir, cold, patient, and utterly ruthless. His name was Octavian, and he understood something that Cleopatra's enemies had always missed. Octavian knew he could not simply declare war on Antony. Antony was a Roman hero, and Romans would never cheer a war against one of their own. So Octavian did something far cleverer. He went to war with a story first. He turned Cleopatra into a monster. In speech after speech, he painted her as a foreign temptress, an Eastern seductress who had bewitched a noble Roman, drained away his honor, and now schemed to rule Rome herself. It was propaganda, and it was brilliant. Now the coming war was no longer Roman against Roman. It was Rome against a dangerous foreign queen. Octavian had found a way to destroy Antony by destroying Cleopatra's name first. And this is the exact moment the myth was born, not from history, from an enemy's mouth built on purpose as a weapon. The seductress, the schemer, the woman who ruined great men, that was Octavian's invention made to win a war. And behind the propaganda came the fleets. In the year 31 BC, the navies met at Actium, off the coast of Greece. It was the battle that would decide the fate of the whole ancient world. Antony and Cleopatra were beaten. Their navy was shattered. They fled back to Egypt, their power broken, with Octavian's forces closing in behind them. A year later, Octavian invaded Egypt itself. Now there was no escape. Antony, believing everything was lost, took his own life. And Cleopatra was left alone, a captured queen, facing the very man who had turned her into a villain. Octavian wanted her alive. He meant to drag her through the streets of Rome in chains, the defeated monster from his own story, for the crowds to mock. Cleopatra refused to give him that ending. She chose death on her own terms. The legend says she died from the bite of a snake, held to her arm. But the oldest accounts point to something quieter, poison, taken deliberately by her own hand. Either way, the last pharaoh of Egypt died a free woman and not a trophy. With her death, it was over. Egypt, rich, ancient, and free for 3,000 years, became just another province of Rome. The dynasty founded by Alexander's general was finished. Octavian had won everything. But he had won far more than a kingdom. He had won the story. Octavian went home, became Rome's first emperor, and the version of Cleopatra that he had invented, the seductress, the schemer, quietly became the official truth. Roman writers repeated it. Over the centuries, poets and playwrights repeated it. Then Shakespeare. And in our own age, the films, the beautiful temptress in her gold and her eyeliner, drawn exactly the way her enemy had first drawn her. For 2,000 years, the world remembered Octavian's lie and forgot the truth. The brilliant strategist who spoke 9 languages and held off Rome for 20 years simply vanished, buried beneath the myth of a woman who seduced her way to ruin. So think about what really happened here. Cleopatra did not just lose a war, she lost her own name. The person history remembers is not the queen who actually lived. It is the villain her enemy needed her to be. And that is the hard truth this story leaves behind. History is not always what happened. Very often, it is simply what the winners chose to write down. The people who defeat you may also get to decide who you were. So the next time you hear a confident story about someone, a rival, a leader, a name that everyone claims to know, stop and ask one simple question. Who is telling this story? And what did they need you to believe? Because the truth and the story that survives are rarely the same thing. The winners are the ones who write it down, and the defeated become whatever the winners needed them to be. Cleopatra lost, so the world remembered a seductress and forgot a brilliant queen. Look past the myth and the real one is still there, waiting. That is not legend. It is proven by history.